but I think mold is such a huge etiological factor that is so misunderstood, so overlooked. I feel like there's a lot of functional practitioners that are pretty astute to, gut bugs and parasites and running all their stool testing. But I find mold and underlying, toxic mold infection or colonization and the resulting toxicity and the resulting inflammatory response. I think it's way more common than people realize. And the, mold illness and SIRS is kind of becoming a very popular topic in the functional medicine world, which is great. But I feel like there's a lot of sensationalism and kind of this, the horror stories, right, where you have people just crippled in a wheelchair and deathly ill. And it's like, sure, that does happen, and that is an awful thing to work with or experience, and I've been through it. But I would say for every one of those cases, there's probably at least 9+ other people that it's more subtle, right? Like, who hasn't lived in a water damaged home, or who hasn't had water damage to their home or their office? So it's so prevalent and so overlooked.
Yeah. And I think that's a testament to just getting out to different environments, to nature. And then when you kind of breathe fresh air and you know that feeling of like, well, this is how I'm supposed to feel. I'm supposed to feel good when I'm at the ocean and the air is clear and the woods and the air is clear. And then when I go back to this moldy room, it's like everything just feels like there's like a dark cloud hanging over me. And you're right. To everybody, it's different. The mold situations are different. To everyone, it's a different degree. And the problem is this jump to have to fix it now. I've got to have the problem fixed right now. And then you go to the doctor. And of course, when you tell them that you're experiencing these thoughts and these emotions, of course, they're going to say, well, you've got depression, and here's the medicine that's going to fix it.
Absolutely. I was, how it started. I was living in a moldy home with my, at the time, ex-fiance and her children. And it was so remarkable. At the time, as a personal trainer and nutritionist, I didn't know anything about mold or methylation or parasites or any of this kind of functional medicine stuff. But, that's how I got here today, is through that experience where, looking back, like, yeah, it was a very musty old home. We did have a bathtub overflow while we were living there. And it was a very, very distinct morning where just one day she woke up and just ice pick pain and kind of her trapezius area completely locked up. And it was a very definitive marking point to what just became this just downward spiral. And we did all the things, right? We went to the conventional medical doctor, blood work looks fine, there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe you need to do intercrystal vestibular therapy, chiropractic, physical therapy. This MTHFR thing, related neurotransmitters, here's, high dose methylation supplement. So it's like, that's how I got to it. And I've been, trying to crack the code ever since, but it's so detrimental. And whereas conventional medicine, well, they are astute to like a fungal infection, but they almost never even look for fungal infections, like, ever. Even if you're complaining of IBS or GI symptoms, which could very well be a fungal overgrowth in the GI tract. Well, what happens? Maybe you get sent to a gastroenterologist, but then they're going to scope you. And if there's no, visible damage to the organ system, they're not looking for fungal overgrowth, let alone, mycotoxicosis, which is kind of the mold toxicity that results from it. That's just completely not acknowledged at all by conventional medicine, even though they use clinical grade, pharmaceutical grade mycophenolic acid, one of the most immunosuppressive mycotoxins. They use it pharmaceutically as an immunosuppressive agent for organ transplant rejection surgery. So, and, we've studied mycotoxins in the 1970s for biological warfare. So it's just horribly ironic and a shamefully ignored topic where, okay, so we've studied it for biological warfare. We use it as an immunosuppressive pharmaceutical, but it's not a real thing. It's all in your head, and you just need to be medicated with an antidepressant. And that's what everybody gets.